Chris, you and I were both at the Flower Expo the last 48 hours out in Greenfield, Mass. The second time they've had an outdoor B2B private event out on the fairgrounds in Franklin County. And it's the second one I've gone to. I've enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it because I obviously like to be outside with the people. And there's that private factor allows some exchange of goods going on at some point. What's your impressions of it?
I think it's super important, especially I mean for everybody there. For the second day is for bud tenders, for me as a journalist, because there's this big thing, which is that cannabis packaging, we don't know what's in it. If it's flower, people don't know what it even looks like a lot of the time. Sometimes there'll be a something they can smell and look at in a jar in the store, but dabs, I mean, I buy dabs all the time. I don't know if it's going to be mushed all over the top, if it's really a sugar, if it's listed as a sugar. So just these basics, what new products are coming out, things like 2-gram vapes, how do they work? So as somebody who has to communicate this stuff to the public, it's really great for me to actually put my hands on, try things. It's fun, sure. But I'm on the more serious side. It is very useful for me.
And I think it's a success. I think Jason and his team are growing and they're learning. And I've enjoyed my experiences the last 2 years out there. And the sessions were very good too. I enjoyed them. I recorded a few of them too. The CCC in Massachusetts, the OCM in New York, the two regulatory bodies, they especially in New York, they can't get anything right. And now, of course, they've had the executive director resign. They have another guy that's on administrative leave. In Massachusetts, I don't see them having they're not as many egregious errors that they're doing, but they seem, I don't even want to say over-regulating, but a lot of times I just think they think that they have to remind the licensees about the restrictive rules on every single thing, and they still don't have social clubs figured out yet.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of things wrapped up in there. I feel, first of all, the comparison to New York, Massachusetts is way past New York, and I'm a New Yorker originally. I have no allegiance to any place. I'm not here to play. I just told you I'm not into sports. I'm not here to play my state is better than yours. And there are things actually that New York has, they do have some light social consumption licenses for I don't know if it's just for festivals and for what do they call it, farmers markets.
Right. And private parties. I've been to a private infused dinner party in New York, consumption friendly. That was fantastic.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if it was licensed, but my point is on some things, New York's creeping ahead. They do have some licensing in that place. On the other hand, New York's such a disaster. The courts are involved in a lot of decisions. They've shut down licensing. There's really, and I'll tell you, for business, one thing that in New York is still a lot of people don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. Massachusetts doesn't really have that uncertainty. I would say Massachusetts, the Cannabis Control Commission is on a decent course. It is just that, well, first, I always have to say this when I talk about the CCC. They have more attention on them than any agency I've ever seen. The Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission is an absolute disaster that I can't tell you how many people have gone to jail over things related to it. Diane Wilkerson, Chuck Turner, that all originated from the ABCC, and also the Gaming Commission is not exactly a peachy operation. So I just think there's a lot of attention here. With that said, sometimes it is 2 steps forward, 1 step back, not 3 steps back, but sometimes it is 3 forward, 1 back, 1.5 back, and that's what we've seen over the past couple of weeks.
I call that cannabis standard time. It just nothing goes the way you'd like it to go. Certainly not as fast, and there's that. There's success, and then there's oops, we got to adapt. Let's get back to the thing I want to talk to you about, because I did not stay for the party on Wednesday night. Outdoor, 1,000 people, reggae bands. I did take, I was there for about an hour, and then being the old fart in the whole place, I hate being the oldest guy at one of these shows, by the way, just for the record. That being said, I went home at 9:30, but they had something there that you saw that I had never heard of before. And that was what I would consider to be a fireworks creation through drone projection of video. And I mean, yeah. I kind of get it. But
yeah, Perpetual Brands put it on, and they're a fairly, that was a rebrand. They used to be called something else, Green Care Collective. It's called Perpetual Brands now. They're a pretty big operation, and they did this light show that was pretty amazing. I gotta say, at first I was like, you know, these are yuppie fireworks. There's no noise. It's pretty strange. But then they start to form into things. So, you know, fireworks just go up.
Right.
This was pretty remarkable, you know, and everyone's stoned naturally, uh, on mushrooms and what have you. But it was pretty remarkable. Yeah, and some of the, you know, they had a bong in the sky, a lit joint. It was pretty brief, but I think everyone was pretty amazed by it.
And I'm looking forward. You said you actually have some video because
Yeah.
that will be my source. You'll be my source on that, and I'll appreciate that. And I'll give my friends at Talking Joints Memo a big courtesy, a photo credit, as it were. Um, I mentioned the social club situation in Massachusetts. It continues to be an issue that just doesn't seem to have any future. I mean, I just don't get why the commissioners can't come up with the right plan at this point, because you have multiple opportunities to run private events with control of who's there. You know, you register, they don't give you out the address until the day of the event. I mean, there's a lot of different things that I've been to and seen that are part of the socialization, but no
Well,
social clubs.
it's you know, at this juncture, you know, they started off pretty good. The beginning of the year, two commission, I think even the end of last year, two of the commissioners, Bruce Stebbins and Nerys Camargo, went on a fact-finding mission. They came back. They've even presented what they found. And I've been to a lot of the places in California they went to. It seemed like on track. Thing is, the CCC has all these other issues. You know, there's facing a lawsuit from a cannabis dispensary in Martha's Vineyard that took up this week. They had a whole meeting about it yesterday. You know, it's
And
not
why
necessarily.
can't put the darn weed on a boat and row it
Yeah,
over?
it's one of these little technicalities, and all these things take up time. Don't forget, they still have the regular licensing every meeting that goes on forever. They're looking for a new executive director. That happens to be dragging on forever. There's some infighting, as just I discussed in some recent articles, and it's really just they have gotten things moved forward. There's some changes to the delivery rules, certainly the HCA thing, the host community agreement issue
Yep.
last year. But like you said, with the social consumption, it's such a big thing, and I got to say, right now they're operating too short. The chair, Shannon O'Brien, is still in a protracted disagreement or I don't know, hearing with the treasurer over whether she should be in the job, and we haven't seen Commissioner Camargo in several meetings, and we don't know why. So
Yep.
a lot of us are working on trying to figure that out. But Camargo was one of the people who was a point person on this, and when you just see all these other things, I wrote an article last week, 2 weeks ago, about badging, about what a burden badging is, and the commissioners know that this thing where some people have 7 or 8 badges to go into different parts of their facilities, same operation. It's ludicrous. It costs companies a lot of money, etc. Many of them, including the acting chair, Eva Calendar Concepcion, have admitted, or not admitted, conceded that this is a problem. This needs to be dealt with. But how could they ever do it? I mean, we all are busy in life. This is a bureaucracy that is completely overburdened, even though they have so much money coming in, increased resources. When they get stuff done, it's impossible to see some of these huge projects getting done.
Yeah. And yeah, it's funny you say they're always under the microscope. The whole industry is under the microscope, right? And
Yeah.
if they stub their toe, it's the lead story on ABC, CBS, and NBC. I mean, and I've actually heard and listened to and watched read your columns on that too. That traditional media just loves it when the industry screws up.
They love it when something bad happens, even when it's something like almost tragic, like a car crashes through the front window of a
Exactly.
dispensary, and it's almost like funny because you know, some of that was handled okay, I think, but it's real. That's just how it is. And when sales are up, it's always a surprise. But when anything bad happens, you know, so the hemp drink issue is another big thing that just happened. They're being, you know, banned from liquor stores.
Yeah.
This is an issue that's going to be perhaps over before the traditional media even understood what it was about in the first place. And as for Martha's Vineyard, I just got to say, I hate to be the super woke guy in the room, but you know, we got like 30 articles in the past 2 days about how no people on Martha's Vineyard in the future may not be able to get weed. Right now, people who live in housing projects everywhere in the state cannot have cannabis delivered, and they can't smoke in there. There are other issues, and these are also things that CCC, I think, would like to deal with, but I don't know how it happens, especially without an executive director at the moment.
And it takes time to make all those things. And yeah, I love the fact that you can look at it from that perspective, because it isn't an easy job. I'm guessing you're not applying for that executive director's job, are you?
I don't know who in their right mind it is that it, no, real. I mean, also, I heard who is it? The Massachusetts Department of Correction also has, I think if they're either hiring or have someone come in. I can't decide what job I'd rather have less. So that should be interesting. And I think the big thing, and we saw in the power struggle between, O'Brien and the former executive director, Sean Collins, who runs this agency? Is it the commissioners, the appointeds,
Right.
or the hireds?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, acting chair Eva Calendar Concepcion has not bitten her tongue. When I've asked this question twice at a press conference and at NECAN in front of a lot of people, she said, we do. She, as far as she's concerned, an attorney, the statute is clear. I think those are her words exactly. So it is the commissioners. So that will be kind of the concept coming in. Whoever's auditioning for that role, the executive, the ED role, which is of course a hired role, will know that they're coming in with a bunch of bosses who don't always necessarily get along.
Will they have to take a drug test?
That's a great question. I highly doubt.
It's a good one to add at the end, because I knew I'd get. Hey, you know what I say about my company? If I ever bring back a company again, you better be on drugs in order to pass the test.
Drug test to make sure you're taking them.
That's right. Hey, Chris Faraone from the Talking Joints Memo. I really do enjoy talking to you, even if it's once a month. And
hey, whatever it is, man.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Keep up the good work.
Cool. All right, Jimmy. I'll talk to you later, man.
Bet. Take care.
We are Pro Cannabis Media.
Coming up on We Talk News this week, WNBA superstar and Olympic champion Brittany Griner gets busted at a Russian airport for carrying hash oil.
Hi, everyone. I'm Elena Pinto, and this is Weed Talk News.
Hey, everybody. It's Brandon Jones with Big Green Distribution with the Missouri Cannabis Report.
I'm Karen Black from Greenfinger Consulting with the Arizona Cannabis Report.
I'm Matthew Friedlander, coming to you from the owner's office here at Skagit Organics.
I'm Amy Carter from Michigan Weedsters.
My name's Tom. You can find me over at Cannabis and Legalization News.
I'm Jill Goldsberry with We Talk News New Jersey, and we are back.
Andrew Behringer here reporting from Washington, D.C.
Our Canadian correspondent with We Talk News, Debbie Fazy with the Canadian Toke of the Week.
I'm Doug Miller from High on Wall Street with this week's Cannabis Stock Report for Weed Talk News.